one of the two to me was very obvious. All right. We'll talk about total in a minute. Right here, I'm going to talk about the side. And I'm teasing Kansas City through the key numbers. We all know what we want to do with teaser strategy. Get across the key numbers of 3, 4, 6, and 7. You can tease on a 6-point teaser at Kansas City from +2 up to +8. And I'm not going to overthink this. You know, one of my biggest weaknesses as a handicapper is I overthink things. This is not an overthink situation. All right. I don't expect the defending Super Bowl champs to get pushed around. All right. It has a much like last year's game. This feels like another one possession affair. We know Patrick Mahomes' track record is an underdog. 10-1-1 against the spread in 12 previous tries in his career. And the lone loss for Patrick Mahomes as an underdog, it's worth noting. They were +2.5/+3. They lost the game by 4. All right. So it's not like they lose contact very often with Patrick Mahomes behind center. KC lost 6 games this season. Exactly one of those 6 losses came by more than 8 points. And you remember that game, Kelly. It was that weird game at Denver back in October. That's the only time all year they lost by more than 8 points. Chiefs have made the playoffs 9 times the last 10 years under Andy Reid. They've won 2 Super Bowls, which means they've suffered 7 playoff defeats. Exactly one of those 7 playoff defeats came by more than a touchdown. We're talking about an elite defense, a defense that allowed more than 21 only 3 times all year, never more than 27 in any game. From a defensive perspective, San Fran might have the great full season numbers. They didn't play their best down the stretch. Obviously, the 2 playoff games against Detroit and Green Bay, that defense got pushed around. So we have a Chiefs team that doesn't lose contact. They don't fail by margin very often. Teasing the defending champs through those key numbers, in my mind, is a positive expectation strategy in a game they're live. Numbers in totals, there's a lot more than there are for sides. You know, we talk 3, 4, 6, and 7 for sides. When you're talking totals, you got 42, 44, 45, 47, 48, 51. So there's more key numbers and fewer games land on any of them compared to 3 or 7. So the keyest numbers are total. Yes, they're key, but they're not as key, perhaps, as we talk about key numbers in the NFL in terms of the number of games that actually land on or within a half a point of that total. Worth noting. And you're absolutely right, Kelly. When it came to which leg of which way was going to go with the total leg of the teaser, that was one I had to think about. And really, I mean, I spent all week thinking about it. I knew I was going to be on Kansas City plus the 8, but I didn't post for the clients until today because I was really debating the total. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought the pace of play is what's the key factor for the total in this one. Look, the Chiefs have spent all season as the epitome of an under team. They're the number 1 under team in the NFL, 14-6 to the under in 20 games. The defense, I talked about earlier, it's been elite. They've allowed more than 21 points only 3 times all year and never more than 27 in any game. Their pace of play is unbelievably slow. Long, methodical drives, game after game. Think about what we've seen already here in the postseason. This is not the big play offense with Mahomes and Tyreek from last year. It's the opposite of that, and it has been all season. San Fran plays slow as well, really slow, bottom quartile in plays per game. And yeah, the 49ers defense didn't play their best in their 2 playoff games against Detroit and Green Bay. We know that. But much like Kansas City, San Fran had a top quartile defense all year in yards per play allowed, and obviously extra time to prep for this one. Last year was the only Super Bowl in the last 5 seasons to get above 51 points. You know, 14 of the last 19 have produced 52 or lower. You can tease this, even if you see touchdowns in these games. And but let's not forget, both teams well above average at forcing field goals from red zone opportunities. But even if we see touchdowns, I think it's going to be a low possession, slow pace type of ball game, fewer drives, and that sets the stage for a relatively low scoring affair. So I teased Kansas City to +8, and I teased it with the under 53.5.